Claim Settlement Bill, first reading.
Mr Speaker.
I call the Honourable Tariana Turia.
E ngā pai maunga o tāwhiao, rāua ko tū watawata, tēnei te maunga o Tongariro e tū o unei. I ngā awa o rangitaiki, rāua ko Wirinaki, tēnei te awa o Whanganui, e rere humari e nei, ko au te awa, ko te awa, ko au. Ngati Manawa, Ngati Whare, kei te mi'i, kei te mi'i, kei te mi'i. Mr Speaker, I move that the Ngati Manawa and Ngati Whare Claim Settlement Bill be now read a first time. Mr Speaker, at the appropriate time, I intend to move that the bill be considered by the Māori Affairs Select Committee, that the committee report finally to the House on or before the 31st of March 2011, and that the committee have the authority to meet at any time while the House is sitting, except during oral questions and during the evening on a day on which there has been a sitting of the House, and on a Friday in a week in which there has been a sitting of the House and outside the Wellington area, despite standing orders 187, 189A and 191B and C. Mr Speaker, I am proud to acknowledge the inherent connection that we have as an uri of Ngāti Apa to the people of Ngati Manawa through our ancestor Apahapai Taketake. In fact, if we were going to Murupara today, we would be welcomed into the meeting house which takes its name Apahapai Taketake from our eponymous ancestor. It is with much sorrow that I remember my last visit to that place was to honour the memory of a man who truly invested his last breath in the legislation which we debate tonight. In thinking about Ngati Manawa and Ngati Whare, one cannot go past the memory of Bill Bird and his absolute dedication to the settlement of these claims. One can never dispute the absolute commitment of this rangatira to the people of Ngati Manawa, and we must view this legislation as part of the enduring legacy that he gifted to the wānau Hapuaniwi. The legislation brings together the claims of Ngati Manawa alongside of Ngati Whare. The two iwi share in close bonds of whakapapa and the experience of a historical context laid out in the legislation under their name. The claims of Ngati Manawa relate primarily to the consequences of their loyalty to the Crown during the New Zealand Wars, the Crown actions and omissions in respect of the operation and impact of the native land laws, the Crown's land purchasing techniques, particularly in respect of land Ngati Manawa wish to retain, and 20th century development of lands, rivers and forests. The legislation travels then from inland Bay of Plenty from the lands of Murupara and the Kaingaroa Plains to the tribal base of Ngati Whare, located around Minginui, the Whirinaki Forest Park and the Whirinaki Crown Forest rental lands. The Crown's actions during the 1860 wars, the impact of the Native Land Court and subsequent land alienation, the Urewera District Native Reserves Act 1896, Crown corporatisation, the cessation of Indigenous forest logging and the return of Minginui village without providing Ngati Whare sufficient resources to bring village infrastructure up to government standards. There is, of course, a devastating history under each of these events, which is known only to the people of Ngati Whare and Ngati Manawa. But this legislation starts the process of healing the grief of these shared histories. It responds to the impact of the several wars that were fought between the Crown and other Māori in the Eastern Bay of Plenty between 1865 and 1872, that this bill acknowledges had a prejudicial effect on Ngati Manawa. And through the passage of this bill, we recognise the history in which the Crown has denied to Ngati Manawa their capacity to uphold their mana o awa and mana waka haere over the Rangitaiki and Whereau rivers, and that it has failed to respect, provide for and protect the special relationship of Ngati Manawa with the Rangitaiki River and its tributaries. The bill is a crucial step in acknowledging the deep regret of the Crown for the loss of lives, destruction and harm inflicted on Ngati Whare during and after its 1896 attack on Te Hare Mapā and significantly for the Crown to unreservedly apologise to Ngati Whare for its actions. The bill also provides an important acknowledgement that the Crown regrets that Ngati Whare have borne the stigma of being labelled rebels. How then to advance to a position in which the historical account, Crown acknowledgements and apology accorded to both Ngati Manawa and Ngati Whare shape out a new future for their peoples? The bill gives effect to a cultural redress package designed around Ngati Manawa's aspirations. Its aim is to reinvigorate the relationship between Ngati Manawa and sites of significance in their rohe, and includes the transfer and gifting back of Ngati Manawa's sacred maunga tawhiao, and a classification to be known as ahikaroa that will recognise their sacred association with tawhiao. The vesting in fee simple of 17 sites of significance, identification markers for 27 Paurahui sites set out the traditional boundaries of Ngati Manawa, and a special projects fund of $2.6 million to assist Ngati Manawa in undertaking various projects for cultural revitalisation. For Ngati Whare, this bill sets out a cultural redress package designed to acknowledge the Whirinaki Te Pua a Tāne Conservation Park as a special place to both Ngati Whare's Kaitiaki and Aotearoa as a whole. The designation of a new name for the park, Whirinaki Te Pua a Tāne, to express Whirinaki, the bounty of Tāne. The provision of a co-governance role for the Whirinaki Te Pua a Tāne Conservation Park between Ngati Whare and the East Coast Bay of Plenty Conservation Board, and the establishment of a joint Crown Ngati Whare Trust for the purposes of regenerating the native forests destroyed over the last century by logging, the gifting of 609.4 hectares of land within the Whirinaki Crown Forest land to kickstart the regeneration project, and a fund totalling $1 million for the purposes of managing the regeneration project. But what is really significant about this bill is that there is also the opportunity for shared redress for both Ngati Whare and Ngati Manawa, including joint vesting of 3 sites of cultural and spiritual significance to Ngati Manawa and Ngati Whare, the creation of the Rangitaiki River Forum made up of equal iwi and equal council representatives to protect and enhance the health and well-being of the Rangitaiki River catchment, the Rangitaiki River and its tributaries, the Whirinaki Horomanga and Whare are synonymous with Ngati Manawa and Ngati Whare. This shared redress sets the benchmark for future relationships between iwi, the Crown and local authorities, and is a welcome initiative. Mr. Speaker, treaty settlements are always fraught with conflict and distinguished by the memory of all those who have fallen in the name of pursuing their claims on behalf of the future generations. This bill is no different, and in giving effect to the deeds of settlement where the Crown and Ngati Whare and Ngati Manawa agree to final settlement of their historical claims, including a Crown apology, this bill also provides a pathway forward, a pathway in pursuit of the aspirations of their mokopuna. Nā reira, tēnā koutou, Ngati Whare, Ngati Manawa, kānui te mihi atu kia koutou ko tai mai nei tēnei pō. I commend this bill to the House.
Members, the question is that Ngati Manawa and Ngati Whare Claims Settlement Bill be read a first time.
Mr. Speaker,
I call the Honourable